Beautiful Monday, my friends, and welcome back. You chose a good video to tune in because in this one I will show you Vladimir Putin in a way you have never seen him before. These photos are leaked, they're from the 90s, you never seen him in these situations and with this haircut. Also, my friends, I'm not in Estonia right now. I am in a foreign country making a Ukrainian update for you because it doesn't matter where I am, this war doesn't stop. Well, unless I'm in Ukraine, then I really cannot physically film. But here I can, so put in the comments which country do you think I'm in, and if I see the right option, I'll answer to it. Look at this photo, my friends. Do you notice anything odd with this? Well, there is a lot wrong with this because this is one of the first Russian MTLB with a shipborne flamethrower missile system installed on top of it, and the good thing is that it is destroyed. One of the first one destroyed. These weird mixture hybrid weapons were first seen in June 2023, and it signals us that Russia is running out of thermobaric weapon systems like TOS-1 flamethrower. These shipborne flamethrower missile systems were made back in the Soviet times, and Russia has a lot of missiles for them left. And yes, they can be installed on almost anything. BMPs, I'm not sure if BTRs, but any truck chassis would do also. And then you convert this anti-ship protection missile system suddenly into a very terrifying flamethrower weapon on the ground. One launcher carries a pod with 22 missiles and they have a range of 4.5 clicks, so they are not high-range weapons. Well, they're made quite a few decades ago, they're definitely older than I am, but the explosion is terrifying. It's a flamethrower weapon. Now, I think you might know this better if this one is thermobaric. I cannot answer this for you now, but put it in the comments. But this is not even the oldest shipborne flamethrower weapon system seen on ground used with the Russian armed forces. On this photo you can see the RBU 6000. This is an ancient weapon and one of the first of its kind in the Soviet military. It was adopted in 1961 and it fires depth charges. And the Russians have installed this on a ground vehicle. I mean, I would love to make fun of it, but if it shoots and if it explodes, it unfortunately kills. Alright, my friends, here it is. You have been waiting for it and I deliver. Do you have your popcorn? Look, can you spot the Putin? And no, it is not the one on the right. This one here. Yle, the Finnish media production company, has released these photos, so you can call them leaked photos 30 years later of Putin vacating in Finland. Suomi mainitu, torilla tavataan. Kiitos, my Finnish friends, for releasing these photos because I need the entertainment. My God, look at these eyes, these shady, these fox eyes. Look at this, what is this? Oh my God. Putin playing table tennis, looking like an Eastern European mafia gangster guy, and it gets better and better. You notice everybody else wearing a t-shirt, wearing, you know, women wear these 90s haircuts, 80s haircuts. Putin is with full tracksuit. I mean, I gotta hand it to him. He got balls to be wearing this in a dinner party like that. But these are leaked photos, and I'm sure somebody in the Kremlin is really mad right now that the Finnish guys threw a low ball to him like that. Thank you, my Finnish friends. I love that you're doing it, and if you have more weird photos about Putin, please send them to me privately. I need them. My friends, as you all know, I recently came back from Kiev, and in every video I'll share one story, one quick snippet of what happened to me in Kiev. Now, this video you see right here, we were invited to the 3rd Assault Brigade base of training. These are new recruits, and I saw firsthand what they do there, and it reminded me so much of what I do with my conscription times. In this video you can see the conscripts lining up and the officers checking if their rifles are empty. Yes, they do this because, you know, a rifle filled in the hand of an untrained conscript is a death weapon. So this is why they do it. I've been done this to thousands of times, and it's a very tedious daily procedure that actually saves lives, believe it or not. Then I did a podcast with one of the 3rd Assault Brigade fighters when the Russian missiles hit us. Actually, the sirens started screaming and everybody started running to the shelters at the very same time of our podcast. Everything was set up, cameras, lights, everything, and suddenly the missiles are inbound. I mean, I would love to say we cancelled our podcast, but we didn't. We actually finished it. In this one you can actually hear the sirens. These are more veteran guys, they're walking slowly, and look at us. We're like, what should we do? Should we finish this podcast? I mean, there's missiles inbound in any second. And you know what we decided? we decided to finish it. Yes, you will see it in the account of 3rd Assault Brigade and on my YouTube channel, Artur Rehi Podcast, link in the description below. Also, everything I did in Ukraine is up on my Instagram. See, stuff like that I cannot usually post on YouTube, so check it out on my Instagram, link also in the description below. For a moment, let's take a look on the military map, but not in Ukraine, but actually in Russia. Let's zoom into the settlement of Kursk, because this was the target of the most recent SBU drone attack. And actually, more specifically, the FSB building in Kursk and also the Kalino airfield, which you can see right here. Now, the Russian Ministry of Defense reported that all of the drones were shot down and there was a little damage on the FSB building roof. But the reality was that there are videos and photos of a direct hit. Also, if we zoom into this Kalino airfield, we can see which unit is stationed here, which is 14th Fighter Aviation Regiment and 332nd Helicopter Regiment. And you can see both of these regiments, planes and aircraft stationed all over this airfield. So if it was a steak, as I said before, it would be with a beautiful crust. If you squeeze it, you know, juices come out. It's beautiful, medium rare, nice brown crust steak. A juicy target, I would call it. Now look again on this map how close Kursk is to Ukraine. You can see the Ukrainian forces stationed, the border guards stationed on Ukrainian-Russian border. And remember, Russian Volunteer Corps were attacking into the Kursk region and occupying actually a few villages and settlements in Russia. Well, this might be happening again. Let's look at some photos. These are the defensive structures that Putin funded to the Kursk administrative government to be built. You might see, oh, nice, they built them, but actually no, these photos indicate to us that most of the funds were stolen. This is a bare minimum done. There's no equipment, there's no soldiers, there's no Russian-style stockpiles of ammunition and food or medicine, water, whatever you want to call it. Knowing how Russian trenches look from satellite imagery, these are the neatest, cleanest trenches, which indicates there's no life here, which indicates most of the funds were stolen. They're like minimally finished. They're ingrown, as you can see, vegetation grows on top of these defensive structures. I mean, it's mostly here a pile of rocks. These are supposed to be defenses inside Russia in case Ukraine attacks again over the border. But they're fully ingrown with bush and vegetation. Somebody in Kursk got very rich with the money Putin gave to them. And if Ukrainian forces attack over the border again, somebody will fly out of the window for this. Now, my friends, I know this map is very confusing, but don't be afraid. I'll zoom into it slowly and you can see it makes more sense. Now, this is Nova Prakopivka and Verbove, two of the settlements most talked about in the recent month. Ukraine is pushing into both, but actually Verbove is where they have gained urbanized area. They have liberated some positions in the urbanized area of Verbove. If we click on these dots, if it's red, it's a Russian casualty. If it's blue, it's a Ukrainian casualty or an attack on Ukrainian forces. Now we click on this blue one right here, we can see Ukrainian vehicle, perhaps a BMP, leaves Verbove and is hit just outside of the settlement. Unfortunately, very sad news, but this indicates to us that the Ukrainian mechanized forces are in the northern western part of urbanized Verbove, meaning they're pushing slowly through the settlement, liberating it street by street. And who is doing it, you might ask? Well, the venerable 82nd Air Assault Brigade, as you can see here. The most well-equipped, the most well-trained Ukrainian brigade in the entire battleground. Covering their flanks from the north is the 71st Jaeger Infantry Brigade, and from the south it's 46th Air Mobile Brigade. Now I'll put this map in the description below so you can see everything yourself, because clicking on these red dots here you can see BMD-4 Russian hit in Verbove by first-person view drone, Ukrainian shelling on Russian positions in Verbove, and there's of course a link so you can check out all of these sources, all of these geolocated photos from satellite imagery. It's perfect. It's a gold mine for information, so go and do your own research on it. I'll just give you the tools right here. My friends, in this video we can actually see a Russian airport. It is in St. Petersburg, called Pulkovo Airport, and it's a blackout. We have seen so many videos of Ukrainian blackouts, Russian missiles inbound, there's an attack against civilian energy infrastructure, and then there's like a 2-hour blackout. Well, now it has reached Russia. St. Petersburg airfields don't have electricity, and locals report that just before the electricity went out, they could hear anti-aircraft fire and drone explosions. So Ukraine has the capability to take away electricity from the second biggest city of Russia. This sentence in itself is insane to say. My friends, a few days ago, this photo emerged from Russia. These are Russian kids with real weapons. It's of course a photo shoot, but this is nothing more and nothing less than Putin Jugend. Yes, you heard correctly. This is Putin Jugend. These kids are being grown to be used as biomass meat for the future Storm Z units in 20 years. See, for the Russian man right now not to question his Tsar, this mindset, this propaganda and brainwashing started 20 years ago when Putin gained power. You don't just grow a man to be killed for his Tsar without questioning it with 1 or 2 years. It takes a decade, 2 decades, an entire generation. And this is where it starts. Putin is doing it right now with Russian children, and you can see it happening in front of your eyes. It's horrifying. And in 20 years, so in 2043, these kids are 18, 20, 25. They will have Kalashnikovs in their hand. They will listen to the next Russian Tsar, and they will storm see whatever that Tsar points to. It's terrifying, I know. This is why Ukraine must win, and this is why Ukraine will win. And connected to Putin Jugend, who are being, let's use the word, groomed for these future Storm Z units to be used as huge losses on the battleground, here are Russian losses of the past 24 hours, 25th of September 2023. 420 personnel sent to sleep with the fishes. 5 tanks, 13 armored personnel vehicles, 27 artillery systems, which shows that Ukrainian fire priorities have not changed in the past 3 months. They're still hunting Russian artillery in the south. And I, for one hand, want to see what it leads up to, because it's a very slow chipping away in preparation for something huge. 2 MLRS, 2 anti-aircraft warfare systems, 7 UAVs, 1 submarine, baby, yeah! This is what I wanted to see over a very long time. Indeed, Ukrainians have destroyed 1 Russian submarine. I was in Kiev when that happened, and I actually got the retaliatory strike on Kiev. We got a missile attack at 5 AM and couldn't sleep much. Full special equipment. My friends, now we'll talk about Wagner. More specifically, Wagner in Africa, Mali. Recently, photos emerged to the internet that a Russian passenger plane Ilyushin 76 crashed in Mali in the Gao airport. Now, this plane belonged to Wagner mercenaries and it crashed on the runway. There are reports of several Wagner mercenaries and commanders being liquidated in this crash. Now, a few days later, we see this video emerging from Mali. These are Tuareg tribes with their pickup trucks, Tuareg fighters getting ready and declaring war on the government forces and on Wagner in Mali. They accuse Wagner of being incredibly brutal against Mali local population, genocide, mass murder, all of these horrible words. This is why they start a war. They declare a war and they start hunting down Wagner fighters in Mali, which are supposed to be numbered in about 1,000 fighters for the entire country. But I gotta remind you, these are not Storm Z units in Russia. These are the most well-trained, most well-equipped Wagner forces. They're not an easy target for Tuareg tribes. And now today a report came that the Tuareg forces have already captured the very first Wagner military camp in Bourem. And don't worry, these names and everything here will confuse you. We'll look everything on the map later so you can connect the dots. Now, who are the Tuareg tribes? They're tribes who live in the southwest part of Libya. They're nomadic people and they have their own dialect. They have their own very distinct culture and they're in strong opposition with the Mali government and the Wagnerite forces. And now war has broken out. For them, this is their fight for freedom or fight for independence. Alright my friends, this is the entire map of Africa and I'll zoom into Mali for you. This country right here, it's in the list of one of the biggest countries in Africa. It's not the biggest, but it's up there. Northern western part of Africa. And you see this settlement right here next to the river Niger is called Bourem, and this is where the Wagner military camp was already seized today by Tuareg forces. So the Wagnerites are being kicked out, slowly decimated in Mali. The battles are going on right now. Wagnerite forces are taking big losses in Mali, and for some reason they actually confirmed their losses from 8th to 9th of September. This information comes from Wagner itself. In these 2 days they lost 2 Mi-8 helicopters shot down by the Tuareg forces. An Antonov 26th plane crashed because of technical issues, and this happens a lot in Russia because I've said it many times before, Russians hate maintaining their aircraft and maintaining anything. But the thing is, if you don't maintain your shoes, they're dirty. If you don't maintain your plane, it will crash. That's the harsh reality of it. And also a Sukhoi 25 fighter jet shot down by Tuareg forces. So Wagnerites are taking heavy losses by the tribal forces fighting against them in Mali. This is a huge issue for Putin, who is pouring billions of USD valued Russian money into African campaigns. Things are slowly settling down in Armenia and Azerbaijan. Psych, no, they're not settling down. Armenians are incredibly mad with their Prime Minister Nikol Pashinyan for choosing the path of de-escalation and demilitarization and admitting Armenia's loss. The thing is, Armenia doesn't have a choice. Their biggest ally, well, supposedly the biggest ally, Russia, and their position in the CSTO, the Collective Security Treaty Organization, or Russia's copycat, has totally failed. It has not protected Armenia from Azerbaijan, and Azerbaijan has fully been able to push through their agenda in Nagorno-Karabakh, and now is eliminating Armenian armed guerrilla groups in the region. So militarily, Armenia has lost. Nikol Pashinyan, the Prime Minister of Armenia, wants to admit that, but Armenian people don't. The capital is filled with riots, they're mad, they feel offended, and they think Nikol Pashinyan, the Prime Minister, is a traitor to the country. The people demand his resignation, but the protests haven't evolved out of control yet. Now this Russia's failure to protect Armenian interests pushes Armenia directly into United States influence, into NATO's sphere of influence. It's a huge loss for Russia because the other player in the area, Azerbaijan, is supported by Turkey, and Russia is losing a lot of power in the area to Turkey. Turkey becoming very fast the greatest political superpower of the Black Sea. I will keep you posted in what happens with this conflict with Armenia and Azerbaijan, but you can be sure it's not over. Time will tell if Armenian people accept their losses and look towards the United States and NATO, or if they want to wage war and in 2 decades, as history has shown, will take back Nagorno-Karabakh. My friends, as I mentioned, I am not in Estonia, but I brought everything. I had a huge suitcase filled with lights and filled with green screen, laptop, camera, everything. This war doesn't stop and you need your updates when you go to work. But I'm able to do this thanks to Patreons. I'm able to work like that. So I want to give them credit and thank them in the weirdest way possible by butchering their names with my Estonian pronunciation. Jonne Kari, Mikael Kölner, Jose Aponte, Frank Wilson, Kesar Rene Villal Vaso Flores. Thank you, my friend, and change your name. Thank you to these 5 patrons. You have truly helped me in my life. I'm really grateful for you. If you like my channel, the Patreon link is in the description below. I hope you have a fantastic Monday, and until my next video, which will be tomorrow actually, stay cool, my friends, and bye bye.